We're about to get into Groupon, and one of the things I wanted to mention is that the company sold a convertible bond, and I thought that it would make sense to talk about what a convertible bond is. And at some point, I'll do a debt lesson. But a convertible bond is a bond, but it's very different. It's a very different kind of bond. It's actually very equity-like in that it can convert into equity. And this may confuse you. And the best way to think about it is think about it like normal debt. In normal debt, you borrow money for some coupon, say 5%, and you can't convert your debt into equity. Right? You're just going to get your 5%. The company can go up by, it could be the next Amazon.com or the next Google. It could go up by 50-fold, but you still can't get any upside other than your 5% coupon. Well, convertibles are a little bit different. You actually do get the right to convert your debt and forgive your debt basically to the company and convert it into stock. And so typically that conversion price is higher than the stock price. So Groupon, I think their conversion price is at $5. So this company lent money to Groupon, I think it was $250 million, and they said, okay, you have to pay us interest, it's debt, so you of course have to pay us interest, and you have to pay us back the $250 million because you borrowed it from us, plus interest. But we also have the right, at our election, we have the right to convert our debt into stock at $5 or so. So if the stock goes to 100, of course, they would prefer to convert their debt into stock. And that way they can sell their stock and they can realize that successful, 20-fold growth in their instrument. Convertible bonds do have lower coupons than traditional bonds. So let's say Groupon, the reverse happens. Let's say the company does very poorly and it goes into the toilet. Well, you feel much better owning the debt because at least you're going to get your principal back most likely, and your interest. It's less interest, but it's better than losing money. So it's a way to get equity upside without the downside. Now, of course, if the company really goes into the toilet, then your debt may not get paid back either, and that's also a risk. So in any event, that's kind of the way convertible bonds work. And at some point, I'll talk about debt in more detail. But for now, let's head into Groupon because we're really starting to get a sense and a picture of the internet sector by having looked at several of these companies, some very large companies, some middle-sized companies, some pretty small companies, and I've enjoyed it very much. And Groupon is a fascinating situation. This company was founded in 2008. And they've experienced this amazing growth. I think what people forget is when a company is doing poorly, people forget where it came from. And this is a company that, and I'm generally positively disposed to it, so that's the spoiler alert. This is a company that had huge growth, and then recently has fallen into some trouble. And the question is, well, can they turn themselves around? Or are they going to continue to, stay in this state of affairs? So we'll talk all about that. So basically, you can build all these models and things like that, but one of the things that you got to do is try the service. So I actually tried the service myself, and I got this little Groupon. It's like a coupon, I guess. So basically, I found these 15 bottles of wine. I have all this expensive wine here, and I don't always want to drink it. So if I'm on a date and the date doesn't know the difference between Heartwood and Oak, 15 bottles for, I think it was for $30? I think it was for $30. Let's see. $65. There we go. So this is $5, less than $5 for a bottle of wine. And of course I have these really expensive bottles of wine that are hundreds or thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars a bottle. And I don't always want to open those bottles of wine, especially if we're dealing with a ratchet situation. So I'd love to open one of these bottles instead. So basically, this, and I'm running out of, I have a lot of expensive bottles, and I don't want to open them up. And only for special situations. So here I'm getting 15 bottles for $65, which is great. And so I have to figure out how to use this, it's a little frustrating because basically here we have a $30 fee for shipping. It's only valid in select states. It's kind of a pain in the neck. And I use Groupon on the phone. And basically, virtually all of the offers were for spas and massages and kind of things like that. Occasionally there'd be something that piqued my interest, like eye exam. I have poor vision, so I'm often getting contact lenses or glasses or whatever. And, I once a year, like anyone else, I should go to the eye doctor. And I saw that there was a 50% off an eye doctor or something like that. Now, obviously, I'm a very different consumer from many people. I don't know how else to put it other than that. It's not just because I'm wealthy, but there's also some other features. I don't love discounts. Like, for instance, the idea to me of getting a big discount for a massage is weird. Like, do you want the service? Do you want to pay for that service? I think in full. Because you want or a haircut or something like that. You kind of feel weird having a 80% off haircut, don't you think? Anyway, I'm a very different consumer, so I'll just sort of leave it at that. But the point is that I tried the service. It's kind of interesting. The idea is that there's this local kind of feature where, here's Greenwich Village is not far from here, and you get 50% off on mani-pedi. I've never had a mani-pedi, so I'm not about to start. But all of this sort of local stuff that is, here's something that would be attractive to me, I guess, right? I need an eye exam with a $300 credit towards frames and lenses. $25, that's a pretty good deal. There's definitely, and I wouldn't feel bad about taking money from Cohen's Fashion Optical, that's no problem for me. So there's definitely some attraction to this product, and I tried it myself, and I think it makes sense. And the company has 50 million customers, so that's not a small number. 50 million customers is pretty impressive, to say the least. And so what's ended up happening is this company struggled quite a bit. They haven't been profitable basically ever. They say they're profitable, and we're going to dig into that in great detail, but this is actually the company's history since inception. They started in 2008, they had no revenue. They had 15 million in revenue in 2009, which is very funny because this was actually the same amount of revenue. $15 million is the same amount of revenue Amazon.com had in their first year. That's right. So if we pull up Amazon.com, I did the same exercise. In 1996, Amazon did $15 million or so in revenue. And the next year, Amazon did 148. Groupon did 313. So Groupon had a faster pace than Amazon. It ended up kind of slowing down, but these were almost superimposable. Groupon being a little bit faster than Amazon, and then slowing down and Amazon taking over. But it's a pretty incredible kind of concept. And to look at sort of the paths of each of these companies. And the number of customers has also been amazingly logarithmic, but it's slowed down recently. You can see that there's been virtually no growth. And the market's punished Groupon quite a bit for this. It's basically destroyed Groupon's stock price. And I look back, and Amazon's never had a lull in their growth, but if you look at eBay, there are definitely some periods. Here was a period where eBay had